Let me know in the chat that you can hear me properly. I'm just gonna give it a second until I can see the numbers. We are live from San Cristobal in Galapagos. Or we should be. I don't see the numbers yet. Yes, perfect. I can see the numbers, so you should be able to hear me. Let me know in the chat that you can hear me properly. And good morning, Marty and Linda. Nice to see you here. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me properly. You never know with the signal. Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Tish. Woo. That was a huge bee. Hi, Jenny. Nice to see you here. And welcome everyone that just joined. We've got about 10 minutes before to start. If any of you are just clicking on this live right now and you don't know what's happening, we've got 10 minutes, so we're just waiting for everyone to connect, and then we're going to a live walk in San Cristobal, Galapagos. Hi Cheryl, welcome. If any of you are watching the replay in the next few months or even years, who knows, if you want to go straight into the live walking tour, you can skip the next 10 minutes. I thought it was a nice place to start, but they've just turned on a lot of music in the background. Hopefully we've got two different musics, so they'll be mixed, and I won't have any copyright claim. And welcome, Anne-Catherine. Welcome everyone that just joined. Let me give you a glimpse of the view. I'm at the I'm at the Mercado Municipal. We'll go and take a quick look at the market, and then we'll head down the street. I'm actually above the market right now on the food court, where you can have a lovely breakfast for $6 or lunch with 2 courses for $6 as well. And we've got about 8 minutes, I think, before it's officially time to start. So most of you know the drill, but this is a live. So if you're watching the replay and you happen to have some micro little cuts, it could be that the signal has dropped for a second or a minute. We have to deal with the gods of the internet. And morning, Linda. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome everyone that I've missed. And some of you know the drill. I'm going to have to test the microphone. I'm going to tap it 3 times. You tell me if you've heard that. You should have heard 3 taps. Let me know in the chat, because the microphone can easily get disconnected. It's my last few days in Galapagos. From this I'm flying back to Quito, where I'll go to Quito, Baños, and then flying down to Peru. So after this one, our next live stream is gonna be from Cusco, Peru, and then Sucre, Bolivia. You've heard it? Perfect. Thank you, Linda. Oh, I'm just traveling, Ginny. Just traveling. Sorry to hear you've been in hospital. I hope you're all good. I hope you're cured from whatever it was. So we've got a few minutes to go. It is nearly 10 a.m. in the morning over here, and it's already quite warm. Yes, exactly. It's such a different part of the world. Although I think there's a bit of a myth about Galapagos being, it might not be as paradisiac as some people expect. I don't even know if I would recommend it, to be honest. I mean, it's lovely, but it's very expensive. Like the excursions, I'm not doing any excursion on this island. Tomorrow I'm gonna share a taxi with a couple of French people I met at the hotel to go, because the excursion, they're just too much. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. Even just renting a bicycle is too expensive. It's for the price of a bicycle here, you could have you could have 3 scooters in India or in Sri Lanka, or even 1.5 in Greece, and here it's a bicycle for a day. It's the food and stuff, that's not expensive, that's actually very affordable, but the excursions, the touristy stuff, it's a bit exaggerated if you ask me. $11 a.m. for you, so we're not too far. That's the same time as mainland Ecuador. If any of you are clicking on this video because you're planning a trip, bear in mind your phone might be very confused in terms of the time of the day. It keeps changing between the actual time and the Ecuadorian time. Of course, you can change your phone manually to the time it should be, but I Cindy. But I couldn't, because in my case it was messing up with other apps, so I wasn't able to stream. So I have to let my phone lie about the time. So according to my phone it's 11, it's not. It's nearly 10. Hi Nancy. Let me see how long we've got. We've got about 3 minutes to go. Kind of a noisy street. There's a lot of work happening. It's building up fast. I've seen picture of, sky, actually I've got one I can show you later on. I've seen sky images of the islands like 50 years ago. There was hardly anything. Well, if you love nature, well, if you love sea life, like diving and snorkeling, that's the place to be. But if you just want some paradisiac beaches with sun and clear waters and no annoying insects or animals, you're probably better off going to the Philippines. And affordable excursions as well. Because here on the beach you've got those horse flies. They go on the sea lions and on me. They're not bothering everyone the same, but they're definitely bothering me big time. Every time I'm out of the water, they come and bite me. They're only attracted to you when you're wet. But yeah, so it's not very relaxing, because you have to be jumping around and stuff, because if you just stay still, they'll come and bite your legs. Or at least they come and bite mine. Right, let's see. Oops, 1 minute to go. And then we'll go for a little live walk. We'll go down towards the seafront because it's a bit more of a breeze on the seafront. And also you want to see the animals. That's where they are. Well, some animals are inland, but just a few cats and dogs and rats, I suppose. I've not seen a live rat, but I've seen a dead one, so there are some. And the dogs, most of the beaches, you're not even allowed to take your dog, because I think they can try to annoy the sea lions. The sea lions, they own the place. It's people say here that we are the visitors, the sea lions. It's their place, so we have to respect them. And if they want to come and lay on your towel, you let them do. They've done that to me right on my t-shirt. I was swimming, came back up. They had stolen my spot, so between my bag and stuff, they'd gone right on my t-shirt. And they don't smell very good, you know. I had to boil the t-shirt. I mean, pour boiling water on the t-shirt. Right, let's see what time it is. It is officially time to start. So welcome guys, welcome to San Cristobal. And I'm just gonna flip this camera around. And let's go. So we're going for a little live walk in the capital of the island. Well, it's the main village. It is called Puerto Barranquillo, sorry. Yeah, I've got it on video, Tish. I'll show you when I do the videos. I've got the sea lions. And the thing is, you have to give them 2 meters anyway, but when they come on your spot, you know, you need to get your stuff back. That's the place to come for cheap breakfast. The traditional breakfast is this one. That's a bolon. Let's go down. Voila. It's like a big bowl of it's made with plantain. So I'll show you. This is the bolon. It's made with plantain, so plantain, with I think a bit of lard or pork, and you've got egg and rice and a lovely sauce. All of that with coffee for $6. Let's have a quick look in the market and then we'll go down to the main street. So those are the plantain, the one you do, the one you cook to put in the bolon or any other cooked meal. Lovely fruit and veg, but the thing with tropical fruits, not only here but everywhere really, it's that you don't really have many fruits you can just take away. You know, like you take an apple or a peach or apricots and you take them to the beach or for a picnic or whatever. Here, you know, if it's a papaya or a pineapple or a mango or watermelon, you know, you kind of need a knife and it's harder to take away, if you know what I mean. Or you have to cut it ahead and put it in little plastic bags. But apart from the bananas, it's harder to take some fruits with you for a day out. This is the block with my hotel. Don't really want to show you my hotel because I don't want to promote them. They're not the best. The good thing though is that we are 12 minutes walk from the airport. So when I leave the island in 2 days, no need to jump in a taxi or anything like that. We can just walk 12 minutes and we are at the airport. That's the taxis, usually those white pickup thing, that's a taxi. You can sit at the back as well. That's my hotel here, the blue one. You can see my towel, you can see my dirty t-shirts actually hanging there. Anyway, the hotels as well, you can find some affordable stuff. We're paying we've got 3 nights. No, well, we're paying about $30 a night. And it's, you know, it's not, the price is really not bad. You see a bit of street art as well. So we've got a shark down here. There's also an artist, a street artist that paints fried eggs. I keep saying fried eggs on many local buildings. So for those of you that were with me on Isabella Island, this one is far busier. You can see some, the buildings are much bigger anyway. You can see some 3-floor story buildings. The beaches are busier as well. I'm guessing it's just because they have an airport, you know, so a lot of people that cannot take too much time off, they might just come and visit one island. So they'll probably come down here. Voila, thank you. Thank you. And let's go and see if we can pop into the church. Careful if you go to the bakers there, you've got the police officer from The Simpsons. So he's checking on you. They don't have much, well, they don't have any proper breads. Like, they've got some kind of sweet breads or croissants, but bread. It's harder. Well, with the humidity and stuff, I guess it's harder to keep fresh. See the, excuse my finger there, but this is the rock on the illustration. That's the lion dormido. It would translate by sleeping lion, although in English it's not actually called sleeping lion, it's called the kicker rock. But in Spanish, the lion dormido, it's a big rock that you can see in the distance. It is said to be protecting the village from the waves and all that. Ginny is asking, do I feel the poverty? No, Ginny, Galapagos is actually richer than Ecuador. The minimum wage in Ecuador, I think it's $400. Galapagos is double. It's $800 so they have much more money than they do in Ecuador. Anyway, let's go and take a quick sneak peek into the church. You can see the cross up there, and let's go. I'm gonna be semi-quiet, of course, in the church. I don't know if there's anyone praying, maybe not. You've got the camels, but you see the sea lions, the tortoises. Ah, and the penguin, sorry, here is a penguin. I have not seen a penguin. Well, I've seen one on Isabella, but in the distance. I only know it was a penguin because there was a guide with some other people that was shouting, penguin, penguin, but really I didn't know what I was looking at. I don't think there are any here in San Cristobal, but there are sometimes a few on Isabella. I think they are the only penguins on the northern hemisphere, because the north of Isabella is on the northern hemisphere. No, yeah, the church on Isabella, I preferred the wall paintings. Lovely camels. Yeah. Right, so let's get out. Here are the iguanas, as well as the flamingos, the penguins, and this top one with the red neck. I've seen one flying, but I've not seen them on the floor. They're called I cannot say it. Frigaty birds, with their big. They've got like a big bubble on their necks. Tortoise, sea lion, blue-footed booby. We might even spot one or two. Yesterday doing the same walk, pretty much I spotted one, so finger crossed. And pelicans up there. Exactly, stained glass iguanas. There are slightly less iguanas here than there were on Isabella. Although they have the same species pretty much from one island to the next, there were more tortoises on Santa Cruz. Well, it seems like it, at least. More iguanas on Isabella. And here you'll see it's the sea lion madness. Well, we might, at this time, they might be hiding in the shade, but they are everywhere. And also the sea lions here, they seem almost a little bit more aggressive than they were on Isabella. It might be because they have a lot of babies to protect, I don't know. One of them kind of chased my friend yesterday. That's so funny. She's got a brilliant video. Underwater, she kind of cornered one because she got into a little cave, and the sea lion, well, he didn't attack. I mean, to be honest, he could have beaten her, but he kind of charged her. I'll have to get her to send me the video, but it's so funny. So he charged her and got the teeth out. So obviously she swam away as fast as she could. I mean, the sea lion is faster. If he had wanted to bite, he would have bitten her. But yeah, they can attack, you know, if they feel cornered or threatened. Or they were, I think, I don't know if it's on TikTok, but on one of those platforms last year, there were some people that have been, they posted horrible videos when they were abusing, beating up sea lions. The police had to investigate and everything. That's the same sharks, the same street artist as we saw earlier. It is said, there are a lot of kind of local legends or little myths. There's one saying that if you not very respectful to the sea lions, let's say they're blocking the way and you want them to move, or if you complain about their smell, because they can smell a bit strong, well, they can curse you, and then you'd have some incident on the water. So you could maybe miss your boat, or lose some gear, or even have a shipwreck, or whatever it might be. So you have to be nice to the sea lions. They're doing a bit of work down here, but I wanted to come down this way anyway because there's a nice statue, if I can access it. I've made it. Right, I wanted to show you the statue over here because we talked about that the other day briefly, but we don't really see any of those huge cactuses in town, but there's one here. So the cactuses here in Galapagos, they're often very, very tall. They could go like 12 meters up, and they often have like almost like a trunk. That's very unusual. It's to protect themselves from the tortoise, because the tortoise, they were eating they are eating the cactuses. Let's go. It's going to be a bit quieter further down. So that's why the cactuses had to grow. They had to grow taller and taller to protect themselves, to protect their fruit from the tortoise. Would you believe? The inside of the trunk, it doesn't. I've seen some broken ones. I've seen some dead ones actually. It's not like wood. It doesn't look anything like wood. It looks like, the only way I can describe it, it's like a web of roots, like tiny little roots, like the size of maybe spaghettis. So it doesn't look like a trunk, like a proper piece of wood at all. Right, this is an homage to Banksy. It looks, with the little girl with the balloons. Bird of prey. Oh, I didn't see the bird of prey, Cheryl. Right, let's go down to find the sea and the sea lions. Oh, that's a souvenir shop in the boat. If you want a T-shirt with any blue-footed boobies on it, that's where you'd have to go. I cannot say it. Puerto Baquerizo, by the way, it's named after a former Ecuadorian president called Alfredo Baquerizo Moreno at the beginning of the 20th century, I think it was. There's a t-shirt that's often seen. It's this type of design looking like the Beatles, but all the animals of Galapagos. And the I love boobies. I wish I could show you a blue-footed booby, a real one. You've got some soft toys down here in the middle, but hopefully we might be lucky and see one or two on the way, who knows. The blue-footed boobies, they have blue feet, which is very unusual. It's apparently because they eat fish, of course. They don't digest one of the ingredients in the fish. So that's why the babies, they don't actually have the blue feet quite yet, because they've not eaten enough fish yet. Now let's cross over to take a look at the sea. It might be very quiet at this time because a lot of people are out doing excursions and stuff. This is not really a beach for humans anyway. I don't even think you can swim here. You've got some beaches for humans a bit further down. Oh, one of them is doing yoga down here. Good morning. Oh, she's feeding one. Look, this is a big baby. The babies, they drink milk for about 4 years. You don't want me here? Yeah, you can see the baby drinking from his mother down there. So there are hundreds of them. You might think they are different colors. They are not. They're all the same color, but when they stay dry for too long, they get a bit beige. And when they're proper wet, like the ones in the sea down there swimming, they look black. It's just because they're wet, basically. There's one down there that probably has been on his rock for a while because he looks beige, but he's on his rock. So they are. I don't know if you can hear them well with the microphone, but they sound almost like sheep. They sound like if they were ready to vomit sometimes. Can you hear them well? They're lovely, although even on the beach for humans, there are so many of them, and it can be difficult to find yourself a spot in the water as well as in the sand. Let's keep going, we'll see some more later on. So it is said that the city belongs to them, not the other way around. And they show you. They often take the spaces on the benches and on all that. Another baby feeding down here. There's another baby here. Hi, baby. It's not the smallest. I've seen some tiny ones. Oh, there's one tiny one down there, straight in the middle as well. Right, let's go, otherwise we'll never move. So, of course, there's one other gentleman that I have to tell you about down here. It is again Charles Darwin. San Cristobal is the first island on which Darwin landed when he came to Galapagos. It wasn't the beginning of his trip. He had gone to many destinations in Latin America before, and he had been traveling for about 3 years. I think they left the UK in 1831. He was on a ship called the Beagle with Captain Fitzroy. He didn't particularly get along with the captain because, Charles was against slavery and stuff, and there were still some some slavery being witnessed in Latin America and stuff, and he would argue with the captain about that. Darwin was not meant to be. He ended up being a naturalogist, but he was destined to be a priest. Would you believe? He was not. He was born in Shrewsbury. He wasn't the brightest of boys. Apparently, his intelligence was classified as average, and he actually went to study medicine at Edinburgh University, but he quit fairly quickly. He didn't like it very much. Apart from taxidermy, there was a former slave that taught him taxidermy, and he ended up in Cambridge studying theology to become a priest, which is quite ironic, of course, considering that he became what some called the most dangerous man in England. Anyway, here he is again on the mural. It's of course a finger. He's shushing us because he's got this big secret about evolution. Oh, thank you, Ronnie. That's very nice of you. Although I know it's a finger, from the distance, it does look a little bit like something else. Anyway, he's shushing us because of his secret. And the little bird, so those are the finches. Darwin looked at many different species over the course of his long career. Even as a young man, he was actually collecting beetles. Beetles, they're one of, well, it's the animal with one of the most varieties, really. There are thousands or at least hundreds of different varieties of beetles. And when he was here in Galapagos, he was really interested in the finches. He actually took some dead ones and stuff too, because although they were clearly the same species, they had some differences in the size of their beak mainly, and he couldn't explain those differences because, of course, you know, it is said that God created all animals in a day, out of 7 days, and he created them all individually and stuff. Then why would they be different from an island to the next? And that's how he kind of dive into the idea of natural selection, because of the size of the rocks in different islands. That's where the finches would go and pick their food from. Anyway, I'm gonna go down the middle here. I think I'm allowed. So this is, of course, a giant map of Galapagos. I'll show you where we've been. Oh, thank you, Holly. The last tour we've done together, I was down here on at the foot of, on Isabella, the one that looks like a seahorse. Where I first landed was down here. This is where is the airport on Santa Cruz, the little island at the top. Then we went down here to Puerto Villamil. And we are now on San Cristobal. The size is not always respected. This is the rock of the sleeping lion here, which is at least 1,000 times bigger than it is. But we are now down here on San Cristobal. So this is the main town here. That's where we are. You can go and hike all the way to those different beaches down here. The main snorkeling point is Tirajetas, where you can see everything. Yesterday I only snorkeled for like 15 minutes and I saw 3 manta rays, tortoises, seahorses, of course. My friend spotted a shark. Sorry, I've just pulled on the cable, bear with me. Just gonna get out down here because there's a little step. So yeah, if you are into sea life, Galapagos, it's really a place to snorkel. Although the visibility underwater is not great, if you compare to many paradisiac islands in Asia and stuff, you really don't see as well underwater. That's important for divers as well. A lot of people come here to dive, but it's very expensive diving here, and you really don't see as far as you would in some other countries. This is the main ferry terminal. When you arrive on a ferry on all those Galapagos Islands, the ferry actually stops a bit further down in the sea, like 30, 40, 50 meters. Then you have to take a little taxi boat. So you always have to have $1 ready in cash for the little taxi boat. Let me show you a blue-footed booby. That's the blue-footed booby here. Hello. Although their beak is not actually blue. Their feet are blue, but not their beak. And you can see if they are male or female, depending on the size of the pupils in their eyes. That's interesting. Ladies have bigger pupils for some reason. Or female, I should say. Now, more seahorses down here. Let's take a quick look. There are a lot of them under the little footpaths there in the shade, but some of them are playing in the sea. Yesterday down here I saw a baby playing with a piece of plastic. And some of them are resting in the sun. I can smell them from here. So the full waterfront here in the town center, it's for seahorses really, not for us. It is said, apparently there used to be many more of them in La Lobera. It's a beach about 30 minutes down the other side. There are still many of them there, but there's a little legend that states that a lot of them moved down here because there was someone mistreating them down there at La Lobera. And they wanted to be down here next to many more humans to have witnesses of that. Is it true? Is it not? Who knows? Now that's another example of the red bird. The one we saw in the church. They've got this big, this huge red bubble or whatever you call it under their neck. So again, those are the frigate birds. I think in Spanish they're called, tireras. I think that means scissors, because their tails, look, it's a bit like a pair of scissors there. But not in English for some reason. You have, in terms of boobies, you also have the red-footed boobies. I don't think you see much, not here at least. The blue-footed boobies, they're not actually endemic to Galapagos. You can see some on the coast of Peru or Ecuador. And they also have the Nazca boobies. The Nazca boobies, they, let me show you. We've got a lot of free public bathrooms as well, so that's quite convenient. So yeah, the Nazca, you go my friend. The Nazca boobies, they were originally called masca because it looks like they're wearing a mask. They've got those black eyes, like a bit like raccoons. But eventually, because there's one specific species of them that's endemic to here, they changed the name to Nazca. So the Nazca boobies are the ones specific from Galapagos. This is the little rocks there where I saw a blue-footed booby yesterday. But the tide is a bit higher than yesterday, so we've got less rocks. Anyway, let me show you those beautiful hotels, and no idea how much it would cost to stay down here. But the village is so small anyway that even if you don't have a sea view. Technically, I have a sea view on mine. If I go to the top floor, there's a little terrace with a shared kitchen where I can see the sunset. So yeah, you can never, even if you want to book a hotel, you can never go too far away. It's never going to be very far away. It's a tiny village, really. I can hear the sea. There's one just here. I can hear the seahorses from here. Now let's see if we've got any friends. No boobies today, but we've got crabs and seals. Yesterday right here I had the 4 of them on the same shot. I had huge crabs, I had the seals, a blue-footed booby, and iguanas as well. We don't even have iguanas today. Hello! They like to chill in the... Ah, yes, I've seen an iguana down here. Hello there. Can you see there's a little black one there on the rock? So they all live nicely. Oh, sorry, you're now in my shadow. There we go. It's hard to see what I'm filming when I'm filming down because I don't see the screen. Oh, there's another seal right down here. Can you see him? He's right underneath us. Right. Let me flip this camera back up. Woohoo. And let's go down to see Darwin. Darwin, we kind of used to see representation of him quite old with a long white beard. He lived for a very long time, I think. Well, very long, not very long, but for his age, I think he lived until his 70s. He didn't suffer for a great health, though. He was seasick, would you believe? He was on a boat for 5 years, yet he was seasick, and he caught some kind of disease in Latin America that made him suffer for many years. You can see those big crabs. You see lots of big red crabs everywhere, yet you never see them on the menu, but they're not allowed to fish them. Fishing, they have a lot of restrictions in terms of fishing or hunting or everything like that in Galapagos, because we are, of course, in a nature reserve. So they can go and fish, but in specific areas, but the crabs, they're not allowed to eat them. And the seals or the tortoises, you're not allowed. You know, those animals used to be exploited back in the days by the pirates. With the tortoise, they used to kill them to take some oil for their lantern or their kind of oil lamp and stuff. The seals, it's the same. They used to use their fur. So now they're not. They're protected. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to kill any of those animals. You're not even allowed to. So if you are a smoker, you know, like cigarettes, you can smoke in the villages, but you're not allowed to smoke on the on the rest of the nature reserve, really. Right, let's go and see Darwin. So we've got a lovely statue here of Darwin with the beagle behind him. Well, that's a small representation of the beagle, but yeah. And for once, he looks a little bit older. Let me show you a picture of what he would have looked like when he was here in Galapagos. So that was a younger Darwin from the image we often have of him, you know, with his white beard and everything. Let me remove the photo. And of course, you've got the iguana as well. Never too far from an iguana on Galapagos. And the tortoise. It's actually quite rare to see them with their long necks out like this, because they only get their necks out when they're very comfortable, of course. And again, when you look at that, you can quite see where Steven Spielberg got his inspiration from. You know, when he came to visit Galapagos. I mean, they do look like E.T., don't they? Let me remove that. I might see some more tortoise tomorrow, because there's a tortoise center on the way down to Puerto Chino, where I'm going tomorrow. Right, let's say bye to Darwin to check out a few more seals. Oh, he's just sneezed. Bless you. They also do fart. Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, we saw one. Well, he was, I don't want to say the R word, but he was kind of forcing another one into sex. The other one went away, and then he farted. I was like, lovely, what a gentleman. Where are the babies? There were a lot of babies here yesterday. Oh, that's the little way. There was one big one blocking the way 2 days ago at night, and no one would go because he didn't want to let people through. Cyclists were turning around and everything, because they can be a bit scary when they want to look scary. and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just chilling, or sometimes they just come and play with you underwater, you know, as long as they don't feel cornered or anything. And they've got a lovely little museum down here that is free. That's interesting because the attractions are so expensive, yet they have some free museums. Well, it's a tiny one, but there's another one here, just chilling. Sometimes they're in the middle of the road. Can you hear them in the background? They're calling. Yeah, so that's the little museum here. So San Cristobal was also a penal colony. You'd have to remember that those islands were empty for so many years. They were discovered by the Spanish, but they were hardly even mapped. There were so many maps that were completely wrong. That's how they ended up being called the Enchanted Isles, because sometimes you'd find them, sometimes you wouldn't. And eventually in 1832, that's when Captain Villamil, an Ecuadorian president, sets his eyes on Galapagos. And that was a very good move because, of course, a few years later, everyone wanted them, you know, because they wanted to control the Panama Canal. Because although we're quite far, you can kind of control the Panama Canal from here, or at least the French, the Americans, the Brits imagined they could. So they made a lot of offers to Ecuador to buy Galapagos, or to find a way to control them, but no, they resisted. So you can see dogs are not allowed down here because it's only for the seals. And then eventually they did try to do a colony. The first island was actually where they tried to do a colony was on Floriana, the one with the Galapagos mystery we mentioned the other day. But that wasn't very successful. And when I say a penal colony, well, before to even have a proper prison, sometimes they just dropped a prisoner on the island and they left them there like a Robinson Crusoe. There was actually a prisoner that was dropped on Santa Cruz. His name was Camilo Casanova. He was dropped there for over 3 years, living like a Robinson Crusoe, and boats would come and visit, so sometimes they would drop a little bit of food or whatever it might be for him, but they didn't take him away. And they did release him after, at the beginning of the 20th century at some point. And they found a sign that read, "Please do not remove this man because he's 20 times a criminal." So that's why no one rescued him. And so that was probably an interesting mix. Just a few settlers and those criminals. That's a big lobster up here. And even those front side bars and stuff, you can still have, well, at happy hour, you can have 3 beers for $10 or cocktails 2 for $12. So in terms of food and drinks, you know, I cannot complain. There are some good deals, and more free toilets here. That's convenient. Let's go back on the pavement so you can see a bit of a lighthouse straight ahead. To get back to Darwin, though, you know, we say it's in Galapagos that he found that he had this idea of evolution and stuff. Really, as we mentioned briefly the other day, his grandfather had also mentioned evolution many years earlier, and he wasn't. Hello, good morning, my love. He was not the only one. Actually, when he came back, so with his expedition 5 years on the Beagle, he had collected a lot of fossils and dead animals and all that. his mates on the ship, they considered it to be a lot of garbage, you know, but it was a collection that was very, very dear to him. And he actually kept his evolution theory for himself for a few years, until there was another guy called Wallace. Wallace was I think he was in Malaysia, and he sent a letter to Darwin saying, I know you're interested into the origin of species. I'm about to publish so and so. And by that point, Darwin was a member of the Royal Society, I think. So they met in London, and they shared their evidence. And Wallace agreed to Darwin. He was like, okay, you've got much more evidence than me. I'll let you publish. But really, he was not the only one. Wallace had come to the same conclusion. And of course, for many years, Darwin became one of the most feared men in, well, at least by the church, but eventually by the time of his death, it was a bit better. You know, they had accepted his theory, and he was buried in Westminster Abbey. Right, let's go down to a beach. That's gonna be our last stop for today. A beach where humans are welcome. You also have a lot of seals, but humans can go and swim. Did the seal just wave to you? That wouldn't be surprising. They do like their audience, you know. Sometimes they're literally posing. You can see they're posing. Now, guess what? There was a terrible murder on the island. 1904. At the time, there was a gentleman called Manuel G. Cobos. He was a landowner. He had a lot of plantations down here. He actually started to plant sugar cane. He had some machinery he had brought from Scotland, and a lot of employees, very badly treated for some of them, almost like forced labor. And eventually there were rebellions in his plantation. He was murdered. Some of his employees attacked him very violently. They ran away to Ecuador mainland, but they were caught. And his ghost is said to be hunting the island still now on a horse spitting fire. Now, of course, the ghost, we don't know whether that is true or not, but the murder is really real. And the ghost, there are some, you know, you've got a few kind of like lava tunnels, or even kind of like lava corridors, and sometimes the wind going into those lava corridors or tunnels can almost seem like whispering something to you. So there are a lot of stories of some kind of a spirit of the island or stuff like that. But that's the only exciting murder I could find. So you can see the islands are generally very safe indeed. The sleeping lion is also said to be a spirit protecting the island from the waves. He would split the waves if it has to be. Now there's another thing that brought some business to the island. It's a little lichen called orchia, I guess it's called in English, orchia in Spanish. It's between like a seaweed and a fungus, and they used it for dye, to dye fabric or whatever it might be. So that's another thing that was collected from here. The island didn't become, or the islands in general, the Galapagos didn't really become nature reserves until 1935. But at the time, you'd have to imagine there was hardly anyone here. We talked about it when we talked about the Galapagos mystery, you know, on Floriana, the double/triple murder. You know, those German settlers at the time on Floriana, they were the only ones. There was no one else. And here as well, let me show you a picture actually. This is what I saw in the museum yesterday. So you've got the different main towns on the different islands. So we are on the one in San Cristobal, but you can see, I don't know if you can read the dates properly, but 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 40 years ago maybe, there was hardly anything there, you know. So you can see how it's how the population has grown quite a lot, really. That's fabrics to die for, exactly. If you hear me huffing and puffing, it's nearly done. We are at the top of the hill now. There was another pirate that's known to have come here. Well, pirate, a buccaneer, really. It's William Ambrose Cawley, Cawley. William Ambrose Cawley, I think his name was. He was a British buccaneer, but he's one of the early people that mapped those islands. You can see his maps on the internet. They're completely wrong. I mean, completely. No, but they're very wrong. So you can see why those English pirates would sometimes not find the islands, because they could be miles away, really. Because even just to go for one island to the next, today it's about 2 hours. You know, if I want to go from here to Santa Cruz, it's about 2 hours on a ferry. And from Santa Cruz to Isabela, where we were the other day, it's another 2 hours. So when we came from Isabela to here, we had to take a morning ferry. Then we had about 8 hours back in Santa Cruz, and then eventually another 2 hours to get here. So they're not that close from one another, and they're not that small either. You know, it's not if I could go around the island on foot. Sometimes there's no way anyway, you know, those, even just down here to go to, so you've got, we're not gonna go all the way, of course, but if I went straight down, you've got several different little beaches, but it can be a bit of a hike on kind of sharp black lava rocks, so it could be a bit dangerous. You'd have to be a quite confident hiker to go all the way to the last one. And this is Playa Man. Man, M-A-N-N. I don't know why it's called Man, actually. But that's... it's the closest one from the city center, really. And it seems still fairly quiet at this time. I was here yesterday at sunset time, and it was very busy, with humans and seals as well. Oh, thank you, Linda. That's very, very much appreciated. I'm probably going to come back down here in a few hours, waiting for my friend. She's diving at the moment. A very expensive dive. You've got the little spot for the lifeguards. Although I've not seen any lifeguards. Yesterday it was the police standing up there. I've not seen what the lifeguards look like. But you can imagine them running from here down to the sea like in Malibu. And we've got no seals today. I bet they are under the shade down there. Oh, there's one here. They are like humans, you know, they like a bit of shade. And a little nap, exactly like us. And there's a big cruise ship in the distance. There must be some kind of a mini cruise, because, oh, hello, you coming out? That's probably a nice thing to do, a cruise in Galapagos, going from one island to the next. I've never been on a cruise. Yeah, in the morning they're mainly swimming or hiding in the shades, and in the evening or late afternoon at sunset time, you have a lot of them down here as well. And it's funny in the afternoon to see all the seals swimming right next to the kids. I don't know how comfortable I would be if I had children to let them swim right next to the seals, because what if they annoy the seal and, you know. But most of the time they don't attack. You'd have to really annoy them for them to do. Oh, there's a baby. Let's go and see the baby down there. He's tiny. Hello. Oh, maybe not that tiny. He could be up to 3-4 years old. And you can swim with them. It's quite fun to, if you go underwater with your snorkeling gear, it's quite fun to see them underwater as well. I think they can be attacked by the sharks though. And they do surf. Yesterday we were on another beach a bit further down with fairly big waves, and I've seen some seals surfing. That's probably why sharks attack humans sometimes when they are surfing, because from underwater, when you have a surfboard, it's a big black shade like a seal, you know. So that's probably why. And there's another baby down there. Let's go and say hello to the baby. From here the water looks very blue, and but yet it's not that clear in terms of visibility for snorkeling. Well, depending on the current, I guess, and depending on many things. Oh, 3 babies! Hello, babies! What are you eating? He's eating something. There's another baby. Oh, there are many babies. There are babies everywhere. Look at all those babies there in the rocks. From the distance, they might look like rocks, but they are definitely babies. Of course, Darwin looked at them as well. Darwin looked at everything, not only the finches. But he had collected a lot from Latin America as well, and a lot of fossils as well. Let's not forget that they didn't quite know about the idea of extinction back then, you know. When he was in Uruguay, for example, oh, there's a tiny one. Look at him, he's so tiny. Oh. Yeah, in Uruguay you found a lot of a massive armadillo, huge one. I think this one is the smallest one I've seen. Well, those two, but the little one there on the rocks is tiny. We should take him home. He looks like a soft toy you'd put on your bed. You really have to be careful never to touch them, because if I was to go and give them a cuddle right now, of course it could be a bit tempting, you know, then their mother might not recognize them, because they recognize them because of the smell. So then their mother would let them die. They would stop, they wouldn't feed them because they wouldn't recognize them, because they smell different. Because of giving me a cuddle, they would smell different. So you really have to not to touch them, really. I know it can be a bit tempting, but no. Big mistake to make. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of the tour. Thank you for coming today, guys. It's always a pleasure to have so many of you on board. If you want to see a bit more of my trip, the next was sorry, I cannot speak today. The next one is in Cusco, in Peru. I'm not doing any work because after this I'm gonna go quite quick from destination to destination, so I don't have much time to prepare a tour or even just to do a tour anywhere. So the next one is in Cusco, and after that we'll do one in Sucre in Bolivia. So that's a lot of fun to look forward to. If any of you were completely new to me, if you've just randomly clicked on this live or on this replay video later on, if you've made it that far into the video, you might want to consider subscribing. The best way not to miss the lives is to subscribe and hit the little notification icon. This way you can get notified when I go live. And thank you for coming today. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you in Cusco. Let me show you my face again. And if not, I'll see you in Sucre, and if not, obviously I'll be back in London after that, so I'll be scheduling some more. Thank you for coming, guys. Have a great evening. Oh, thank you, Pauline, that's very much appreciated. Apologies, I'm struggling to see the chat because the sand is white behind me, so if I've missed any messages, apologies. But yeah, thank you for your tips. It's very, very much appreciated. It is really thanks to your generosity that I can spend more time preparing the tours or buying books and all that. So thank you very much. See you soon. Have a good one. Bye bye.